Suzi, hebu kamwone. Ndio yule dem tulikuwa tunaambiwa.
Kwani amefanya? Hizi shop zote 3 ni zake. Na next door anachukua pia.
Na imagine tuko na haka ketu kamoja tu.
Na ni bodyguards zako na wana.
Nasikia wanamshughulikia everything. ATM zake, credit card zake 24/7.
Hadi usiku.
Kwani 24/7 inamaanisha?
That means anamlipia hata bill zake pia. KRA, NHIF, UEFA. Anafanywa zote akiwa ametulia tu hivi.
Kitu kingine nasikia ni eti so secure.
Kwani kuna banki yake, si mtu kama hizi utakamtoa nenda kwa bank. Nasikia hiyo katu hivi. The whole day kwa tablet akifanywa kila kitu.
Na hao bodyguards wake ndio umpelekea do kwa majuu.
Unaona wale wawili waso au fanya bulk payments.
Nilisikia ni ati local accounts zake, foreign accounts zake anashughulikiwa.
Lakini no wonder business yake imegrow hivyo Lazima kuna banki yake special.
Your banking team is at your fingertips. Go digital. Visit coopbank.co.ke and click on New Internet Banking.
Wow, thank you for your time. How juicy.
Juicy.
Wa, Suzi, hebu kamwone. Ndio yule dem tulikuwa tunaambiwa.
Kwani amefanya? Hizi shop zote 3 ni zake. Na next door anachukua pia.
Na imagine tuko na haka ketu kamoja tu.
Na ni bodyguards zako na wana.
Nasikia wanamshughulikia everything. ATM zake, credit card zake 24/7.
Hadi usiku.
Kwani 24/7 inamaanisha?
That means anamlipia hata bill zake pia. KRA, NHIF, UEFA. Anafanywa zote akiwa ametulia tu hivi.
Kitu kingine nasikia ni eti so secure.
Kwani kuna banki yake, si mtu kama hizi utakamtoa nenda kwa bank. Nasikia hiyo katu hivi. The whole day kwa tablet akifanywa kila kitu.
Na hao bodyguards wake ndio umpelekea do kwa majuu.
Unaona wale wawili waso au fanya bulk payments.
Nilisikia ni ati local accounts zake, foreign accounts zake anashughulikiwa.
Lakini no wonder business yake imegrow hivyo Lazima kuna banki yake special.
Your banking team is at your fingertips. Go digital. Visit coopbank.co.ke and click on New Internet Banking.
Kilimo Chapa, kipindi kinachokuelimisha, kukujuza na kukupa mwanga katika kilimo. Kipindi kilichorahisishwa hatua baada ya hatua kwenye safari ya kilimo na biashara. Nia yetu ni kukupa ujuzi kwa njia ya vitendo, haswa kwenye maeneo ya ufugaji, upanzi wa mimea, magonjwa, magugu na hata wadudu. Tunakupa fursa ya kufahamu kilimo kwa kina. Ungana nasi kila siku ya Ijumaa saa 12 jioni katika Kilimo Chapa, makala yako kwenye runinga uipendayo, Maisha TV.
Wa, Suzi, hebu kamwone. Ndio yule dem tulikuwa tunaambiwa.
Kwani amefanya? Hizi shop zote 3 ni zake. Na next door anachukua pia.
Na imagine tuko na haka ketu kamoja tu.
Na ni bodyguards zako na wana.
Nasikia wanamshughulikia everything. ATM zake, credit card zake 24/7.
Hadi usiku.
Kwani 24/7 inamaanisha?
That means anamlipia hata bill zake pia. KRA, NHIF, UEFA. Anafanywa zote akiwa ametulia tu hivi.
Kitu kingine nasikia ni eti so secure.
Kwani kuna banki yake, si mtu kama hizi utakamtoa nenda kwa bank. Nasikia hiyo katu hivi. The whole day kwa tablet akifanywa kila kitu.
Na hao bodyguards wake ndio umpelekea do kwa majuu.
Unaona wale wawili waso au fanya bulk payments.
Nilisikia ni ati local accounts zake, foreign accounts zake anashughulikiwa.
Lakini no wonder business yake imegrow hivyo Lazima kuna banki yake special.
Your banking team is at your fingertips. Go digital. Visit coopbank.co.ke and click on New Internet Banking.
Kilimo Chapa, kipindi kinachokuelimisha, kukujuza na kukupa mwanga katika kilimo. Kipindi kilichorahisishwa hatua baada ya hatua kwenye safari ya kilimo na biashara. Nia yetu ni kukupa ujuzi kwa njia ya vitendo, haswa kwenye maeneo ya ufugaji, upanzi wa mimea, magonjwa, magugu na hata wadudu. Tunakupa fursa ya kufahamu kilimo kwa kina. Ungana nasi kila siku ya Ijumaa saa 12 jioni katika Kilimo Chapa, makala yako kwenye runinga uipendayo, Maisha TV.
much for tuning into Maisha Television and welcome to Maisha Prime. My name is Frida Tibet Karim.
Live from Maisha Television, this is Maisha News Update, brought to you by Rida Karim Jabet.
Welcome. And we start off with the story making headlines where a 5-judge bench has today made a ruling on the petitions seeking to stop the IEBC from conducting a referendum to implement the BBI bill. The matter was before Justices Joel Ngugi, George Odunga, Jairus Nga, Chacha Mwita and Teresia Matheka. The plans for referendum were at the top gear by the proponents after the bill was passed by the both houses of the National Assembly. Let's get the full story.
From Zambia, Professor Sempembwa from Uganda, Dr. Ikura Kot as Director, and former Attorney General Amos Wako. The Committee of Experts worked by building on the work of the CKRC. The Review Act required the Committee of Experts to study all existing draft constitutions and such other materials as it may consider appropriate and prepare a report that would identify the issues that were not contentious and were agreed upon, and issues that were contentious and not agreed upon. Committee of Experts considered the following documents to identify the contentious issues: the CKRC draft, the Boma's draft, the proposed new constitution, that's the Wako draft, the Kilifi report, the Naivasha Accord, the Kiplagat report, the referendum debates, the Kriegler report, and the Waki report. Committee of experts like the CKRC before it collected a total of 26,451 memoranda and presentations from members of the public as compared to the CKRC, which received 35,000 written memoranda. Of this, 5,212 were received from organized groups, 88 from political parties, 50 from private sector, 2,969 from religious organizations, and 32 from statutory bodies. The committee also conducted regional hearings where a further 1,917 presentations were made. The committee attended hearings in all the 8 provinces of Kenya and had many consultations with the various stakeholders directly on specific issues. Despite these efforts, a report by the Kenya Human Rights Commission concluded that the committee did not conduct far-reaching and effective civic education as was possible. According to the commission, the committee was limited by time, bureaucratic hurdles, and difficulty in accessing financial resources. The committee was thus not able to produce enough drafts of the proposed constitution of Kenya in Kiswahili. Civic education was sporadic and not sustained in some areas like Turkana, Marakwet, Samburu, and Kuria due to low literacy levels in English, and Kiswahili never engaged meaningfully with the process.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta joined pupils of Westlands Primary School in conversations with their Cleves Cross Primary School counterparts in UK, where the Prime Minister Boris Johnson joined the head of state in the joint virtual tour of the 2 institutions. Both Westlands Primary and Cleves Cross Primary are part of the Connecting Classroom Through Global Learning CCGL program, which aims at connecting schools globally and educating them on international issues.
Welcome to our class, Your Excellency the President.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Today, President Uhuru Kenyatta had a rare chance of meeting United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson in Westlands, Nairobi. During the virtual meeting at Westlands Primary School, Uhuru spoke for some minutes with the British Premier, who was also at Cleves Cross Primary School in Ferry Hill, England.
That's so long. Uhuru, can I ask you, did the pupils of Westlands, did they have to miss school during the pandemic? Did they have to stay at home?
They actually had to stay at home. They were challenged as a result of the fact that all schools were basically closed. And I must say, because exams weren't held on schedule last year because all schools were closed. So we had to hold our exams early this year. And I really want to congratulate and all the kids, because they did reasonably well despite the fact that they were at home. And I think I congratulate you all. Despite those challenges, you still managed to face your exams. You've done as well as you could. well done, and just keep that right up.
That's fantastic. Well, everybody here also had to stay home. But are you happy to be back in school now?
Yeah.
What about in Western? Are you happy to be back in school?
The meeting between the two leaders is part of the Global Partnership for Education (GPE), an initiative through which Kenya and the UK aim to raise $5 billion needed to help 175 million children from 87 low-income countries get quality schooling.
Uhuru and I, what President Kenyatta and I are trying to do with Julia Gillard is to get 88 million more girls in the world to get proper quality education, but that's just for one thing that we're doing. It's a general challenge to improve education throughout the world.
While addressing both UK and Kenyan students, Uhuru revealed that his government will ensure that there is free and quality education for both primary and secondary schools in Kenya.
First and foremost, it is important for every single child to have an opportunity to get a quality education. And what we are doing here in Kenya is trying to ensure that we have made, for example, primary education in Kenya completely free, and it has been free for all Kenyan students, regardless of background, regardless of what part of the country they come from.
The head of state said that it is important for every child to have access to quality education. He also added that Kenya has ensured that primary and secondary education is free for all students, and the government is driving for 100% transition between primary and secondary school in Kenya.
And for the last 3 years, we have also started a program of 100% transition, ensuring that all primary school kids also get an opportunity to get a high school education. Now, of course, in some parts of the world, like Kenya and many other parts of the world, resources are scarce. And that's why myself and Boris are really trying to work hard over the next couple of months to raise the money that we're trying to raise, to ensure that no child is left behind and everyone has an opportunity to get a quality education that therefore gives them a quality foundation to be great citizens of the globe in years to come.
That's exactly right.
The two visits by the two leaders was aimed at providing the two leaders an opportunity to directly engage with the pupils aged between 9 and 11 years and create a high-profile moment for championing education for all, with a special focus on technology and girls' education.
My name is Nisa Brina. Prime Minister, sir, what was your favorite subject in primary school?
My favorite subject? Well, I think it was a primary school. I was at a primary school in London called Primrose Hill Primary School in Camden. And it was lovely, and it was actually the same school as Ed Miliband. You haven't heard of Ed Miliband or David Miliband, but I think Uhuru has heard of him. It was a lovely school, and I had a wonderful teacher called Mr. Fox, who decided that I needed to be given extra reading. I don't know why. He thought maybe, whether he thought I had potential or whether he thought I was behind, I'm not sure. But anyway, he took me into the library and he gave me lots of books, and so that was a big moment for me. Yeah, so I would say that was my favorite thing.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Henry. What needs to be done to ensure that all children continue learning even with the pandemic?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think therein we've all experienced a very, very difficult time over the last year, and that's children all across the world, from the United Kingdom to here in Kenya, right across, kids being forced to stay at home through no will of their own, but as a result of this unfortunate pandemic. And what has this told us? It has told us that we've got to also really pick up on digital learning, so that even when we are faced with crises like we are faced currently, all boys and all girls can still continue with their education from home, through digital connection.
The two schools are part of the program of connecting classrooms through global learning. The program provides opportunities for pupils to engage peers across countries on global issues such as climate action and gender equality. Maisha TV.
And today, hundreds of Muslims across Kenya went ahead to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, despite the Chief Qadhi's directive to mark it on Friday. Chief Qadhi Ahmed Muhadhar had given a public announcement via media outlets that the holiday will be marked on Friday, as the moon had not yet been sighted. The festival of the breaking of the fast marks the end of Ramadan and is a time when mosques hold special services and worshippers spend time with friends and family. However, most Muslims faithfuls are decrying the high cost of living occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Several leaders have passed their messages of goodwill to the Muslims across the country as they mark the special day in their Muslim calendar.
Siku ya 29 kama leo, kama mwezi haukuonekana, basi watu wakamilishe idadi ya tarehe, na tunawaambia Eid Mubarak in advance. Eid yetu tutaswali siku ya Ijumaa tarehe 14.
Tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, tumeweza kutekeleza salatul Eid kwa pamoja, na nadhani Wakenya wengi wameweza kuswali Eid leo kwa sababu mwezi umeonekana ndani ya Kenya pia, bali ndani ya Mombasa. Kwa hivyo tuomba Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wale wenzetu ambao wako kwenye shida, Mwenyezi Mungu awakutoe kwenye shida zao.
Hii mambo ya mgawanyiko ya masala ya mwezi lazima iangaliwe, kwa sababu leo Waislamu wengine wanasali na wengine bado wanafunga, na ilhali tunajua kwamba mwezi umeandama, mwezi umeonekana, na habari ilipopelekewa Chief Qadhi amekataa, na tunaona kule kukataa kwake si haki, si sawa, na kila mwaka hii shida raleta.
Zangu Waislamu, leo tumeswali swala ya Eid. Alhamdulillah, tumekuwa katika mwezi wa Ramadhan. Ni mwezi ambao kwamba tulikuwa tunajihimiza kumwabudu Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu. Naam, Ramadhani imemalizika, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala bado anataka tuwe ni wenye kumwabudu kama alivyosema kwenye Qur'an.
Chief Justice nominee Martha Koome has recommended legislative intervention to help resolve the stalemate among the three arms of the government. Appearing before the parliament as she was being vetted, Koome said there is a need to have harmony between the judiciary, legislature and the executive. Koome was, however, put to task to assure Kenyans that she will carry out her duties based on the law and not along the gender sidelines.
If you become the Chief Justice, the office of the Chief Justice and the office of the Deputy Chief Justice will be from one gender. Now, I want you to speak to the other gender, not your own. Do they have a cause of concern? You seem not to have found value to hear the father of that child. And you will be two members of one gender, and you have been very strong when you were in FIDA or in the civil society before you came to the judiciary on matters pertaining to women's rights. Would you consider yourself, this is very fair, would you consider yourself a feminist? And do people of the other gender have anything to fear in your leadership as a Chief Justice?
And what I would like to assure this August House is that when I look at a case, I don't look at it whether it's a woman, it's a man. I look at the facts of the case. I look at the Constitution. I do not hate men. As a matter of fact, I've been married for the last 35 years. I got married when I was very young. I went to the University of Nairobi when I was already married, so I know how difficult it is to balance a family and balance education. But I'm so proud that I graduated with a daughter. I graduated with a husband who has remained my dear partner and compatriot all these years.
And the Media Council of Kenya has today continued with its quest to gather comments and views from journalists and stakeholders in the media sector on amendments of the Code of Ethics for Journalism. This is one of the best ways to ensure good quality and order. Rift Valley Press Representative Jackson Karanja said the council was in the process of training journalists on how to report political stories, especially at a time like this when the nation is looking forward to a referendum and the general elections next year.
Tuna mpango wa kuhamasisha trainings na capacity building za wanahabari hapa nchini, na training hizi zitasaidia sana, ambapo tunakumbuka kwamba kuna kura ya maoni ambayo iko karibu na kisha uchaguzi wa mwaka ujao. So tutakuwa na enough trainings za journalists across the country, na haya yatasaidika zaidi kwa maana sasa tuko na hizi regional offices ambazo zitasaidia. Tuko na regional office ya Mombasa.
Katika kuangalia hii sheria, kitambo Code of Conduct ya kwa sasa iko na vipengele 25. Tunataka kuviongezea viwe 27, ambayo tunaangalia mambo mingi kama advertising, kama kutangazia watoto and about sources, na pia tume include vitu vingi sana ambazo zinataja ama zinaguzia access to information and watershed period.
Garissa County Governor Ali Korane has now termed the motion to impeach the County Assembly Speaker Ibrahim Abbas as an exercise in futility. Yesterday, the MCAs from Garissa County started the process to remove their Speaker Ibrahim Hamed from office, led by Maalimin MCA Mohammed Aden. A total of 36 MCAs had signed the petition accusing the Speaker of gross violation of the Constitution.
Kuna mambo ambayo yanaendelea hapa kwa Assembly. Na hii ni fitina na fujo ambayo inaenezwa na wanasiasa. Hao wanasiasa ambao wanaeneza nafikiri ni wa hapa. Mimi nataka tuachane na kulete fujo na uhasama na kutosikizana katika wananchi hawa. Mpaka sasa hakuna dhambi ambayo tumeambiwa ya kwamba huyu speaker amefanya. Hiyo motion itafail and we have the numbers. Lakini hii fitina ambao hao vijana wanaendesha, nataka waachane nayo ili sisi tuweke kwa amani. Ile jamii tatu ambao wanakaa hapa 2013 tuliwagawanyia viti vitatu vikubwa ambayo ilikuwa kwa county hii. County Secretary, Chair Public Service Board na Speaker. Tukapatia family moja hiyo kiti ya Speaker na ni yao. Wale ambao wanajaribu kuwatoa ni dhulma. Na nataka watu wakae kwa amani, wawache hii fujo, kwa sababu kila kitu huanza mahali fulani, lakini matokeo yake huwa inadhuru watu wote. 2013 mnakumbuka ya kwamba watu walianzisha fujo kati ya kabila wawili hapa, na tulipoteza watu 32. Leo hakuna vile tunaweza kuexplain wale watu wamekufa na nani amepata faida. Hakuna mtu ambaye amepata faida yote.
And political leaders allied to the United Alliance Party in Kisii have alleged that security agents are frustrating their candidates' campaigns in Kisii's Bonchari by-election, which is slated for May 18th. The leaders, while addressing the press at the Kisii Hotel, singled out the tear gassing of their convoy at Ekerubo area in Bonchari early this week and the subsequent arrest of 3 of their supporters as among the latest of the incidents of attacks directed at the party. Speaking to journalist Alice Wahome, who is the Member of Parliament of Kandara constituency, spoke of a government bent on clawing back the freedoms the country has fought for in decades. The United Democratic Alliance UDA is fronting Teresa Butitu, who is the widow of the former legislator Oro Oyoka.
Katika harakati zetu za kuomba kura, tumekuwa tukipatwa na kusumbuliwa na idara ya polisi. Jana muliweza kukimbiza gari zetu, muliumiza candidate wetu. Hata hivi leo vile tunavyozungumza ametoka hospitali.
I personally witnessed the disruption, intimidation by the OCPD
leading her big team, including blocking us when we are at speed on the highway.
These were not thugs or goons. We were actually blocked by police officers, and they hauled tear gases into our car.
And with us, we want also to confirm to our people, our brothers and sisters in Bonchari constituency, that we are neutral. We are going to give them security, and there is going to be a peaceful by-election. So we are not supporting any party.
So kama wafuati utaratibu tiagasi wakule kwa wingi, kwa sababu sisi watu ya Bonchari tunapenda amani na hatuna mambo mengine. Vile vile nitarecommend ile kazi security wamefanya ni kazi mzuri.
Wafahamu kwamba wasipopata matokeo wanayotarajia kwa sababu ya hongo, wasije wakajuta na wakasema kwamba wamepoteza, kwa sababu wananchi wana busara na watachagua kiongozi bila kushurutishwa, bila
The national government is ramping up investment in transport infrastructure in the counties in bid to upgrade the country from a low to a middle-income economy. The government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna says the government is expanding the road network across the country, as well as the construction of air and dry ports in the effort to lower the usually high transportation cost for farmers in high agricultural productive areas.
The progress of work.
Speaking during the assessment of government project, Oguna said for the last 10 years, government have expanded country's bit standard road network to 700 kilometers, development that is already showing up rural economies. He said these projects will give the country desired competitive edge against its neighbor country in East Africa region for local and foreign investment.
So the government is not just doing this airstrip, the government is doing many other projects in the country. We are working on water projects in the whole country, we're working on roads, we're working on airports, we're working on stadiums, we're working on many other projects, all aimed at improving the well-being of our people. By doing what? By creating job opportunities for our people.
In Nakuru County alone, national government is constructing transport infrastructure worth 2 billion shillings to alleviate suffering among farmers who have been contained with the loss of produce and high cost of transportation.
But also we are aware that this area is agricultural area, and many a time you've heard of situations whereby there's a glut either of milk, a glut of cabbages. Now we'll not only create employment for those who will be employed here, but even the farmers will be able to easily transport their farm produce to other parts of the country, to abroad. And by doing so, they'll also be able to create employment in the farms. So you can see the multiplier effect that is going to be generated by this project.
Oguna observed that 1 kilometer airport in Nakuru County is anticipated to be a lever in a region whose economy is reliant to tourism and agriculture, and it will provide job opportunity to the region.
For instance, where we are here at Lanet Airstrip, that will eventually be Nakuru Airport, once it is completed, it will be able to create opportunities for employment, not only for residents of Nakuru, but for members of this country.
Nakuru County Commissioner Erastus Mbuyu observed that the development project will open up rural areas for increased job opportunity and wealth creation. Philip Simiyu, Maisha TV.
Well, and still in the matters of development, the construction of the cargo sheds at the Isiolo International Airport has begun, a move that will pave way for commencement of the cargo flights from the airport. The new development is expected to provide reprieve to Mira farmers and flower farmers from the neighboring Meru and Laikipia counties, and it will also provide reprieve to those who will be ferrying meat and animal products. The 3.1 billion shillings airport, which was launched in July 2017, has failed to live up to the expectation, with the number of airplanes suspending operations shortly after commencing.
Making sure that this facility is in an acceptable form for use by the airline operators, and that's the reason I'm here, to make sure that we address whatever little gaps that need to be addressed. I've been assured by the contractor, and I want to believe that that is correct, that facility will be ready by July this year. So I think that will also create now the opportunity for us now to move more cargo through this airport than has been the case before.
And in Maisha Business News, the newly elected tea directors from Kirinyaga County have condemned the Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA for allegedly attempting to change some articles in the tea regulations touching on the management of the entity, as Bushebi Jr. reports.
Total Kenya has issued a reminder over a public safety warning recalling faulty LPG cylinder hose pipes. The oil marketing firm says the move was necessitated by information from its suppliers, who noted that some samples of the low-pressure LPG hose pipes sold from July last year were failing the aging test. Defective or faulty hose pipes pose the risk of explosion, as they are likely to contribute to leakages. Early this year, the Kenya Bureau of Standards set new standards on petroleum and LPG products, touching on use, storage, transportation and disposal of such products. An initial recall notice was issued by the oil marketing firm in March this year. And in Webuye, lack of legislations and parliamentary approvals are some of the reasons why Pan-African Paper Mills is yet to resume full operations. Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina has however told the Senate the government is exploring other measures to support Webuye town in the event the factory cannot be fully revived. The newly elected tea directors from Kirinyaga County have condemned the Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA for allegedly attempting to change some articles in the tea regulations touching on the management of the entity. They accused KTDA of frustrating their efforts to save themselves from poverty. KTDA is a private company owned by about 600,000 smallholder tea farmers spread across 16 tea growing counties in Kenya. The farmers are shareholders to 54 tea companies that own KTDA and its 8 subsidiary companies. Some of the 54 tea factory companies have expanded by setting up satellite factories in the neighborhood to accommodate the extra leave.
Tunataka wenye tumechagua sisi na wenye wamechaguliwa na wakulima wakae kwa bodi ya KTDA ili hali waweze kutetea mkulima wa kawaida. Sisi tunaomba wale wanatusikiza na wale wanatufuata kwa reforms wakubali kwamba the real change, hiyo mapinduzi inaweza fanyika only kama moja wetu ndio amekalia hiyo kiti.
If it wasn't for the government that has supported farmers to this extent, there is nowhere we farmers would have been. So as we politicize and as we listen to these politicians, we must think about ourselves.
And on matters Environment and Forestry Principal Secretary Chris Kiptoo says that government is working towards eradicating use of wood and fossil fuels in households by 2030. Speaking at the EU-Kenya Green Diplomacy Conference held virtually, Kiptoo said 80% of the households in the country were still using such fuels, despite Kenya being a regional leader in use of clean energy. For Maisha Business, I'm Bushebi Jr.
And with that, we've come to the end of Maisha Prime. My name is Rida Chebet Kering.
Authoritative. After the expose that has caught the attention of many Kenyans, some have come in to weigh in with their views.
Dependable. The views of members of the public cannot be taken in vain. Trusted.
The judicial test about knowing what they know. They look at you and they say, this one is like this.
And definitely love.
Hii ni station grow very fast na naipenda sana.
You are advising or you are directing. Number 2, Mr. Speaker.
You are now mixing up issues. Please, let's hold your horses. You know, when they ask the speaker, not everybody is a speaker. So I hear, I am following. I'll add in 5 minutes.
We are here to inform.
Kama mwananchi hajachanganyikiwa, anajua tofauti ya MCA na mjumbe, kwani atachanganyikiwa vipi asijue kani ni executive kani ni
on record that there is nobody who is above the law.
Educate.
Being poor does not mean God will not give you a good brain. So money does not buy everything. And let me warn further that there are already people collecting money.
And entertain you 24 hours of the day. And 7 days of the week.
Mombasa is under what we say lock and key.
Maisha TV. Choose it, watch it, and love it.
Kilimo Chapa, kipindi kinachokuelimisha, kukujuza na kukupa mwanga katika kilimo. Kipindi kilichorahisishwa hatua baada ya hatua kwenye safari ya kilimo na biashara. Nia yetu ni kukupa ujuzi kwa njia ya vitendo, haswa kwenye maeneo ya ufugaji, upanzi wa mimea, magonjwa, magugu na hata wadudu. Tunakupa fursa ya kufahamu kilimo kwa kina. Ungana nasi kila siku ya Ijumaa saa 12 jioni katika Kilimo Chapa, makala yako kwenye runinga uipendayo, Maisha TV.
How do you get a job as a fresh graduate? I always get asked this question by people entering the job market, and the main reason being they really don't have the work experience. A lot of the jobs out there being listed by employers require some form of work experience, and when you're a fresh graduate, you don't have experience. So my first tip is for you to start small. A lot of us really would want to work with these big multinationals, we don't want to work with these local big brands, but that does not always translate to success. We all cannot fit at Safaricom. We all cannot work for UN. We all cannot work for Citibank. We all cannot work for Equity Bank. The opportunities are limited. So I always advise a fresh graduate, start small. And by starting small is target the SMEs. They'll be the one most open to giving you that first opportunity. And the reality is all you did is that first opportunity. And the beauty of it, the minute you have something to indicate on your CV, employers are not interested to see these big names on your CV. They just want to see some form of work experience. Then it will be very easy for you to go climb higher, to the next step, and to be even attractive to these big brands. So start small, start where you are. And how do you do this? I mean, target the business owners, people who you go to church with, people who you go to mosque with, people who are known to your family, So these are people who you can have a conversation with, and they'll be more willing to assist you. So starting small is key. The other advice I would give you is look for volunteer opportunities. I'm yet to meet an employer who you'll approach, and they will really, they will not be interested for someone who's willing to offer volunteership, to offer themselves in a volunteership opportunity. The good thing with a volunteer is that even if it's unpaid, you come out with some form of skills. And again, like I said, at the fresh graduate level, you are just looking to build your CV. So volunteership is really important, whether paid or unpaid. The other thing obviously would be, again, in the spirit of starting small, looking for internships. It may not really be in your area of training. An example is maybe you trained to be an engineer, and here is a customer service internship. Should you go for it? I would say yes. In the short term, go for it. Work there for 6 months or 1 year, even as you look for this engineering job, because you learn several skills. So starting small, looking for volunteership opportunities, going for internship is really key, even if it's not in your area of training. Because what this does is, as you're still practicing, as you're still learning, you have something to showcase in your CV. And beyond that, you're also learning some soft skills, which is really important in the job market. You're learning how to communicate. You're learning interpersonal skills, how to relate with others. You're learning the needs of our work environment. And these are things which are really key to employers. So the biggest problem I find with fresh Kenyan graduates is we all want to start big. And I was at where you are, you know, immediately after I left University of Nairobi, I would apply for these big jobs, director level, manager level, you know. I'll be more attracted to the salary as opposed to that learning opportunity. So if you're a fresh graduate, it's not time to despair, it's time to start small. And if you'd like more advice, please visit our website. We normally have articles targeting fresh graduates. But more than that, subscribe to this channel and we'll be sending you more tips.